Hi guys. So we're looking at the Serpent again, and we're looking at questions again, responding to questions, because there are three more techniques that Richard Warlow uses in the Serpent for responding to questions. In the last post we looked at 3, and in this post we're looking at 3 as well. So let's go to page 50. This scene is where, here we are. So Teresa and Celia on the deck of a boat as it cruises down peaceful canals in Bangkok. So Celia and Teresa are floating down the river in Bangkok, and they're talking about travelling. They're backpackers, and they're talking about getting high. So a number of questions in this, but I particularly want to look at these questions here, where questions aren't answered in a normal, where questions aren't answered. That's what we're looking at. So Teresa here says, I'm not going to Kathmandu. And Celia says, then where are you going? And Teresa chooses not to answer. Let's highlight that. So Celia says, then where are you going? And Teresa chooses not to answer. So first technique, where a character chooses not to answer a question. Celia lets it go. On they cruise until that smoke that Celia is smoking a rolled up cigarette. Celia, you sure you don't want to get high? Teresa, considering Celia, looks out over the prow as they push from the Klong and out onto the Chao Phraya River. An amazing spectacle, no doubt, in Bangkok. And Teresa responds with a question. Why get high, Celia? Okay, answering a question with a question. Standard screenwriting technique, probably the first technique we all learn, right? Writing dialogue. But what Richard Warlow does that is interesting here is Teresa continues. Why get high, Celia? And then looking out at the spectacular views of travelling along a canal in Bangkok, the pagodas, the monks, the fishermen, the market stalls on the riverbank, everything. Incredible spectacle. And Teresa says, look at it all. Isn't it a trip already? So she's still answering this question here. You sure you don't want to get high? Why get high, Celia? Look at it all. Isn't it a trip already? So Richard Warlow doesn't just answer with one question. He transcends the technique, if you like. John Truby, in his book 22 Steps of a Master Storyteller, talks about transcending the genre. And I think here what Richard Warlow does is he transcends the technique of answering a question with a question by answering a question with 2 questions. And also Teresa speaks in the language of Celia, who is offering her a joint to smoke. Or up until now, they've been talking about getting high, they've been talking about Kathmandu, they've been talking about hashish and heroin, they've been talking about drugs. So Teresa responds, isn't it a trip already? In the language that Celia understands. Trips and drugs. Okay, so let's move on to the last one. So this technique number 2, is to respond with a question. which we could say also reveals character, because Teresa, talking in the language of Celia, drugs language, perhaps is making a connection, but also she's saying, look, I'm high already. I've got a natural high. Also revealing character. Let's look at the third example then. So in this section, Teresa calls her grandmother, who's back in California. Here we are, San Pedro, California. A modest but much loved porch, where asleep in an armchair, a book fallen on her lap, an elderly woman, Emma Knowlton. She wakes at the sound of a telephone. International operator. I have a call from Miss Teresa Knowlton. Will you accept? Of course she will. Teresa, Grandma. Emma, her grandmother. Teresa, where are you? Teresa, Bangkok. Direct answer. The flight to Kathmandu is tomorrow. Teresa, is everything all right? Teresa, I just felt I didn't say goodbye properly. Is she answering the question truthfully? No. Everything's not all right. And we know this because at the end of the conversation, Teresa says, I got a bad feeling. I got a bad feeling. I'm kind of freaked out here. So, in this section here, Teresa, is everything all right? Teresa says, I just felt I didn't say goodbye properly, is a lie. She's not telling the truth. Why isn't she telling the truth? I think she isn't telling the truth because she wants to protect her grandma from worrying about her. So we might say that this technique number 3 that Richard Warlow is using, is Teresa avoids giving a direct, truthful answer in order to protect the person she's talking to. So technique number 3 then, avoiding the question in order to protect the person who's asking it. 3 more techniques for dialogue and responding to questions used by Richard Warlow in The Serpent. Hopefully these posts are going to give us control over our dialogue, knowing these different techniques. I know what I'm learning from this is that engaging with a script in this way, even if what I'm saying, you might disagree with what I'm saying. I might be, misinterpreting the skills. I might be misinterpreting the techniques. I might have a limited understanding of the technique being used. And Richard Warlow might watch this video and think, well, he's having a go at understanding what I'm doing in the script. And I think that's the most important thing, is the fact that I'm engaging with a script that isn't my own, regardless of whether my theories are correct or not. The important thing is that I'm engaging with a script that isn't my own. And I must be learning something. I hope you are too. See you next time.